Good evening. I'm Craig Owens, City Manager. It is my honor to present the recommended budget for fiscal year 2023. I've submitted that to you. It's been posted online. It totals $436,776,000 across all funds.
People's true thoughts about your police department come out when you submit a budget that gives them $2.5 million more while you're taking away money from vital community functions that everybody loves. I really enjoyed seeing a lot of people come out and let you know what they think about the budget increases to the police, let you know that they don't trust them, that some people fear the police. It's incredible that you guys don't acknowledge these voices when the time is right, but you have to today. Enjoy, people.
Here to say that the people of Lawrence will never stop fighting for Prairie Park, even if you, in your strategic planning and in your fancy offices, decide it's not worth it. Decide that you need to keep the 0.7% of your massive budget that it takes to run the park.
Why are the police getting $2.5 million of an increase in their budget? I noticed that when the budget was ran through, that was conveniently left out. This is on pages 55 and 53 of the master document that's on your website. Between $2.4 and $3 million, depending on what line. I'm not going to lie and say that I am a financial expert, so I don't necessarily know what those lines go to, but both lines show at least $2 million increase in their funding. Why is there a $12.6 million four-year police shooting range being considered for a ballot initiative in a city that voted down the police station, but I guess you built it anyway?
Some things that don't need more funding, such as the police, that are receiving more money when there are more pressing issues at hand. Based on how much information we've been provided thus far, we don't even know where the $30 million are going.
Hello, my name is Shadow Spooner. I just came here from work. A few years ago, you approved funding for a $20 million police department. Last month, you approved a $350,000 art piece to go in front of that building, a building nobody wants to enter. If you want something innovative, studies show a higher police budget and more police funding does not make a safer community, and it does not make this community feel safer.
To start, the budget document is incredibly vague. Costs are mostly only shown in incredibly broad categories with no further information. I voiced my concerns about this during the budget process last year, and it seems like nothing has changed. The unelected city employees who make six-figure salaries, like the city manager and the finance director, understand where specific dollars are going, but the people who fund the city and those employees' salaries do not. Instead of cutting nature education programs, cut the enormous $30 million police budget. Prairie Park costs about 1/100th of that, and unlike the police, does not contribute to longstanding systemic injustices that would protect the interest of property over people.
Now, I was going to come in and go through the budget. I was going to come in and throw numbers at you, but to be honest, you got plenty roasted by a gentleman earlier, and I have to say kudos to them. The police continue to get an incredible amount of funding. I mean, so much to the point where we don't quite say all of the funding that the police gets in our meetings. I totally understand that, but I think my question is, why? Are you scared of the police? Well, we are too.
I appreciate your time late into the night on these same issues. However, this is about money. That's what this is all about. And I don't see how our commission can view itself as progressive when it allows for almost $60 million for police and fire and nickels and dimes for housing. You spent the first part of the meeting in a so-called, I don't know, glad hand, pat each other on the back thing, throwing out silly ideas when it's going to take money. And yet we can give $60 million for the police and the fire departments. What are they going to protect?
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Oliva, and I would like to know how much the city spent in overtime pay for law enforcement this year. I mean, as far as I know, most officers work 5-day work weeks consisting of 4 10-hour days and 1 day of overtime. Not to mention the flood of officers from different agencies that happened to come into the town whenever KU won the national championship. I'm sure a simple restructuring of officer schedules to a normal 5-day, 8-hour work week would make significant cuts into the budget. And if what Mr. Watts said earlier is true about LPD contracts with foreign intelligence agencies, then it seems to me as a resident and as a taxpayer, if a cut is going to be made in the police budget, then I say it should not be for services loved by the community, and instead make cuts to stop all contracts with the apartheid state and human rights abuser that is the Israeli government, who is responsible for the murder of Palestinian American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh. We need to be funding our communities, not spying on them, and definitely not using our tax money to support apartheid governments.
And I think it's a pretty easy answer of how to fix the budget issue. Cut the police budget. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Bye.
Also, y'all want to get rid of some animals. How about we get rid of our drug dogs and keep the animals in the Nature Center and Humane Society? It's a fair compromise. Community keeps the animals, the city gets to get rid of some. Let's talk priorities. I think the community this community, I think, prioritizes pets and nature more than they prioritize dogs sniffing out cocaine at a traffic stop. We could use the money we spend on our drug dogs for the Humane Society instead. Aren't both in the police budget? In conclusion, I'd just like to say that if some of y'all want to portray yourself as progressives, then you need to cut funding to things like the police budget and corporate welfare, and not the Nature Center and Humane Society. Save pancake, sell cheeseburger.
My name's Michael, and I'm all for getting rid of cheeseburger, but I say lock him up. Okay. Now, I was going to let this one go down without me, but when I heard so many people come in here and tell you how they're afraid of your police and how they don't trust your police and they want to see your police budget reduced, and why are we giving the police all the extra money? I don't know if half of these people have seen my page or not, but I can show you why we're giving all these people the money is so they can go out and assault citizens. Guys, I've shown a ton of reasons why we need to reduce the funding to the police. You're going to, now, Craig, I like this because you put out this little bullet point thing that shows just a first look that there's 100,000 coming out of the police budget. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. But then I go look and see what it is. And I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Hiding things. The police budget is hidden down in there. They didn't want to talk about it tonight. And they want to build their own gun range. Now, I was talking to the owner of Shooter's Gun Club, and it's funny, he's having to close because he doesn't have any business. And I asked him, I said, well, why don't you get a hold of the police department? You know, they're talking about this shooting range. You know, they can't, it's got to go through the union and it's got to go through that. But we've got a local business that could house that and do it. And they're going to close, and we're going to build a multi-million-dollar gun club that only the police can use. Now, I challenge that is only because the police want to go privately and do their shooting. They don't want to be out there doing actual training with their weapons. They want to go out there and blow out a bunch of clips like we've seen on TV and like what Lockhart's going to come talk about on Thursday. You guys want to add more money to that. Okay, we got the shelter and the Prairie Park, both together less than that BS sculpture. I talk to a lot of people that I don't know in my business, and I can't tell you how many people on the west side, I didn't even know about the thing until a few weeks ago when it really came up and everybody's telling me, man, that thing is ugly. I don't know why we had it. People call it fantasy land. It's crazy. Safe and secure overtakes welcoming neighborhoods. We're seeing it tonight. We have to be safe and secure at the expense of our welcoming neighborhoods like the Prairie Park Nature Center and the Humane Society. I want to let you know that my wife and I have got a majority of our pets from the Humane Society. The most recent one was in January, and he was heartworm positive. There's a lot of people like us that will take a heartworm positive dog and go ahead and pay for the treatment to save them the money. We could call that an in-kind donation. Do you really need to see that to understand that people are supporting these projects? The firefighters want the people left out of the discussion. They want you to make a decision on their stuff without letting the people vote. That's an exact example of what I'm saying about city staff that don't want to hear from the people. The people know the police, and you heard their opinion tonight. If you can't change what's happening tonight, I give up on any kind of police accountability.
As you have continuously heard today, there's a clear disconnect between the proposal and the public's consent.